What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Q&A. How's everybody been doing? So I wanted to go through this chat. What's up, Jason Clement? I saw that you are taking a phone call, so hopefully you hop back soon because I have a couple of answers for you, some questions you got. I saw some other people were helping out with that, but I figured I'd address it as well for everybody else because you asked, let's see if I can find... so you said, Jason Clement says, I wonder if I could just load up multiple instances of Plini and disable everything else except the pedals and run them into each other that way, speaking about the Quad Cortex. The Quad Cortex is going to be extremely versatile and extremely flexible. So you're going to have four inputs, four outputs, but the diagram on the front allows you for very flexible routing. So you can have, up to 4 instances of archetype Pliny for different blends of tones and stuff like that. However, each individual component is going to be its own block, so you can interchange the pedals as you wish. That's one of the things that I'm actually going to address in an upcoming FAQ, because I am going to be making an FAQ episode on the Quad Cortex. So if you have any questions, I will try to answer them during the live stream, but I may also just address them during the FAQ episode. So that way, I still get to answer you guys, but maybe I might have somebody else help me with that. From Neural DSP. Anyway, yeah, so as far as building your chain inside the Quad Cortex, you have your grid, which, as I mentioned, you're going to have very flexible routing between components. But you can have, like, say you own all of the Neural DSP plugins, which will eventually be ported over to the Quad Cortex. You could have an instance of the Fortin hex drive going into the Bossy first head, into the Kali impulse responses, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, you can get really flexible with the Quad Cortex. So that's to address that. All right, let me go through the chat a little bit. What's up, Alex Forrest? How's it going, man? He says, thinking up good Quad Cortex questions. Awesome. What's up, Williams Aaron? How's it going, dude? Good to see you. Yeah, Williams Aaron says, I use the delay and verb from the Pliny with the Kali and Nameless. It works great. Honestly, the delay and the reverb from the archetype Pliny are my personal favorites. Like, I love the other ones, like the Abasi and the Nolly are really, really good sounding. But there's something kind of shimmery about the archetype Pliny's reverb and delay. Sort of... like, I don't know if you guys have ever used Valhalla DSP or some Valhalla reverbs. Those are really, really luscious, and they kind of remind me of that a little bit. All right. Carl, what's up, dude? How's it going, man? Yeah, Jason Clement says, that sounds awesome. The Kali is my current favorite. Not sure if it's a honeymoon phase or just legit my favorite. It's pretty freaking awesome, though. Like, you got to admit. It's definitely one of my go-tos now for just straight up like rhythm guitar. It's just awesome. Let's see. Ryan Cypher says, been debating for 3 days if I should get the Nolly or the Pliny, leading towards Nolly. Nolly is a great, I mean, you can't go wrong with either. I did a video on the YouTube channel kind of comparing the strengths of both plugins. I wasn't necessarily going for trying to make the exact same tone on either or, but mainly just like, here's a clean tone on the Nolly that is strong, here's a clean tone on the Pliny that's strong, here's a lead tone, here's a rhythm tone, etc., etc. So if you want to go check that out, you can go up on the YouTube page, Pliny versus Nolly, something along those lines, I think, as far as the title's concerned. And that'll come up. So if you want to hear some kind of back-to-back examples of those two, you can check it out on the YouTube page and see this ugly mug talk to you about it. Yeah, so hey Sabo, what's up, dude? How's it going, man? Matthias, how's it going, my friend? How is everybody doing? I'm scrolling through the chat right now. Scotty Dog, what's up, dude? Ryan Cyphers, will there be a tuner added to the Nolly? Yes. That is coming in an update. I'm not sure about the release of the update, but that is in the works at the moment. So it's gonna be pretty soon. But that's a pretty common question. But it's totally cool to ask that. But yeah, there is a tuner coming from the Nolly, as well as MIDI updates, some bug fixes as well. But yeah, that's coming up pretty soon. Adam Berger says, "What up, y'all? Okay, gotta have one of those shirts." Speaking of the Neural DSP shirt, I love this thing, man. I was stoked to have one. Yeah, Seba says that we are working on multiple upcoming updates. We are aiming for a couple of weeks, so we'll see what actually happens. Hopefully, those will be done sooner rather than later. I know that people are looking forward to having the additional updates for the plugin. So I appreciate you guys' patience with that. It's very kind of you guys. Harrell says, "Hi everyone, I'm procrastinating during work hours, waiting so I can go back to playing with Callie." Dude, I mean, I'd say like I feel you, but like my job is playing with the Callie, so like I can't. I did have a like a desk job though. Like I worked retail. I managed like a small guitar shop in Sacramento, California, and I worked there for like 12 years, and I absolutely know that exact feeling. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna futz around on YouTube for a while before heading back to doing anything worth doing. I swear, I could go in there and work for 2 hours and get everything done, and then I was still stuck there for another 7 hours. Sabo Wabo says, "How is the QC progressing?" It's going very, very well. Everything is on schedule. If you guys are interested, check out Doug's Instagram. I don't remember the exact handle, but if you go on Instagram and you look up Douglas Castro, his Instagram comes up, and he puts up on his story pretty regular updates on like different components and things that have been added. I think the most recent one was a pitch shifter, like sort of Tom Morello pitch shifter, like a Digitech Whammy-esque sort of sound. But that was just the most recent thing that he put up on his Instagram story. So I'm really stoked on that personally. I've always wanted a Digitech Whammy. I just never got around to getting one. Oh, Sabawabo. Yeah, I used to work at the Fifth String. It was a little acoustic guitar shop down in like more towards like Midtown Sacramento. We were on J and 32nd for a while, and then we were on J and Alhambra, and then N and 32nd Street. It's just a little mom and pop shop, tiny little thing, but that's awesome. You're from Sac. That's awesome. Good to meet another Sacramentan. Scotty Dog says, "My job is playing with the Cali. Biggest humble brag I've ever heard." Dude, I'm grateful to be where I'm at, man. Like, it's, yes, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked by the comments. Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's, I can't be any more grateful for what I got, you know? Like, it's amazing what I do, and super grateful for the opportunity to do it. Yeah, Scotty Doc says, "Also, Doug's I fucking love Lasers post is amazing." Lasers, because he's talking about, Doug put up a post about some laser engraving on one of the quad Cortexes, and it just looks badass. Dude, Modern Vintage, what's up, man? Good to see you. He says, "Omega took over #1 spot for my rhythm tone over Nolly's third amp, Granifier." Yeah, dude. Okay. I'll show you what I'm working on right now. Let's see, let me make sure that my scene changed. Okay, so this is the newest Artist Tones video, and I'm working on, and this is mainly I'm just tracking guitars right now, so it's fairly raw. But I used the Omega Ampworks Granifier on the rhythm guitars because it's pretty good. I saw that Misha was playing around with them on his Instagram, so I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do that. So I got the bass here. So this isn't mastered at all. This is just a little bit of compression, I think. Yeah. Either way, so I'll just play it for you. Yeah, I love the Granifier, dude. It's so awesome. Let's see. Dennis Hates asks, "Are you planning to release more vintage-oriented plugins?" Well, I'm sure that like you can probably get some more vintage tones out of the plugins we released so far, like the Kali second head on the Nolly, the second head on the Plini. You can even get some kind of cool like bluesy tones out of the Fortin Nameless. But there are definitely some plugins coming up that you'll have the ability to do some more tones kind of like that. Lear actually asks a good question. Hey Steve, when presets are being made, are they based on the artist's sounds or directly tuned in by the artist themselves, or who would you like to work with on presets? Okay, so they're actually made by the artists themselves. So we do have like, a bunch of people that we use to kind of beta test these things with. And it's kind of based around who's available to make the presets with us. As far as who I want to make presets with, I mean, the list is pretty long. I mean, like we got a bunch of different artists on our page. Like, gosh, who would I want to make some stuff with? I mean, Paul Oz is already like, I'm friends with Paul Oz, and he's one of our Neural DSP artists, and he's always one that I'm willing to make some music with because he's a great guitarist. I'm actually working on some collaborations with other Neural DSP artists like Drusif Stalin, Scott Carstairs from Fallujah. But yeah, so like I'm working on some stuff actually with some people to make some presets for you guys and kind of do some jammy sort of stuff and make some original content. So, but yeah. Okay, Rain Sweat asks, which book do you recommend for mixing for a noob? Um, I didn't learn from a book. I actually got a subscription to Nail the Mix. The Unstoppable recording machine is really good. Yeah, actually, you know what? Eric Weissenborn does mention the systematic mixing guide. That's Ermin Huminovic's book, which is solid. I did leaf through that a couple of times, but I ended up going with the URM stuff because it was a little bit more narrowly focused on issues that I wanted to address. So I guess it depends on what approach you want to take. Yeah, Eric Weissenborn says I would recommend the URM Academy as well. But yeah. Oh, that's nice. Seba, in response to Alex Forrest asking how people get on the beta testing program, says contact support at neuraldsp.com for more info on beta testing programs. Williams Aaron says Nail the Mix is so good. I agree. If you guys don't know, I had the community manager on a couple of weeks back, John Maciel. So you can check out our conversation and hop in on that. It was a lot. It was really fun. All right, let me go back through the chat because I definitely missed a handful of comments up here. Okay, Joao Quintas asks, Quintas? I don't know. I apologize. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Anyway, the new Quad Cortex, he's asking, does the new Quad Cortex have the Plini Sound Plini plugin? Okay, so if you own the plugin, a version of the plugin will be ported over to the Quad Cortex. Yeah, there you go. Pablo asks, are there going to be different versions of the Quad Cortex rack unit, bigger pedal board? I don't know if that's in the works at the moment. Right now we have the Quad Cortex in mind, and that's our focus right now. As far as when we, if we are going to make some new stuff, I mean, obviously we'll tell you guys. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Mercy, probably not saying that right. Says, hello, do you hire electrical computer engineering MSc students as interns? If you go to the website, I believe that there is a page for, hang on a second, Neural DSP doc. I just want to make sure I check this. Oh yeah, so if you go to the Neural DSP website, there's a tab called Careers, with various jobs that we're looking to fill, or you can just email them, and just see what's up, and I would definitely encourage you guys to do so. I mean, that's how I got the job, was I just applied, and I emailed them a lot. I probably annoyed them a little bit. I don't know if I did. I don't know. I got the job, so I did something right, I guess. Okay, so Matthias asks, so he's asking somebody else, but I can answer this question, I think. Is Nail the Mix a separate subscription than URM, because I'm on there and I have to pay for almost all the Nail the Mixes separately? Question mark. Okay, so Nail the Mix is a monthly subscription. It's under the umbrella of the URM. The URM is the company that holds the product Nail the Mix and URM Enhanced. Nail the Mix is included in URM Enhanced, but it's a monthly subscription, but you have to pay month to month to access that specific month. So each one you have to pay for separately, yes. Nitrous Crusader, is there going to be another archetype plugin in the future, or is that currently in the works? Or that is currently in the works? Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely have more archetype plugins in the works, and more regular ones as well. So, yep, can't say anything more than that. But yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up for you guys, and I'm really excited to see what you think about it. Carl says, nice to get Fortin Cab IRs with the Kali. Thanks, Neural DSP. Man, thank Nolly, dude. He killed it with those impulse responses. Those are some of my favorites. I think the Kali impulse responses, as well as the Omega Ampworks, or the Granifier, and then the Nolly. Those are like my three go-tos. Those are probably the most like mix ready, while also being very versatile. Okay, cool. Adam asks, what's your favorite neural plugin for 7-string stuff? And do you have any EQ tips for 7-string? Okay, so for 7-string, I'm gonna guess that you're talking about getting sort of more metal, djenty sort of tone. For like, if you're going for like a more periphery, proggy, djenty kind of tone, the Granifier is really great, as well as the Archetype Nolly. I mean, like, they're all gonna be really effective. Yeah, I would say probably Granifier is gonna be my first choice to check out, and that's probably only because I'm actually working with the Granifier on a periphery cover currently. But the Archetype Nolly obviously has the Blood Eagle preset in the plugin, which I didn't go with because I feel like that would be just a cop out. But yeah, so yeah, he's confirming what I said. So yeah, Granifier, Nolly, the Plini could also do it pretty well. The Abasi, of course, is going to be sort of similar in that vein. I'm actually using the Abasi on a couple of the tones in the periphery cover, like that sort of piezo, thin, kind of clean sounding guitar sound. That's all Abasi, with basically just the blend knob all the way up, and the reverb delay kind of making it sort of watery and shimmery. Kendall James, what's up, dude? How's it going? He says, hey, Steven, since there's going to be modulation pedals in the Quad Cortex, any word on if there will be any in future Neural Archetype or Suite plugins? I think so. I can't really promise that, like, I'm not sure. I know it's been talked about. I know that people have asked about it enough that it's a subject that has been in discussion for a while. I think it's probably a matter of just finding the appropriate suite to attach them to, because not everybody uses modulation pedals, right? So we kind of make it simple in that sense. And while modulation would be fairly simple, I guess, yeah, I think it's just about the opportunity and what you end up kind of trading off for that. So yeah, Williams Aaron says that blend knob though on the Abasi is fantastic. It's one of my, yeah, it's so good. All right. Jason Clement says, I love Paul's mentorship program and his Temple of Shred videos. He's a very down to earth and humble dude. Haha. I totally agree. He's one of the nicest people I've ever had the good fortune of meeting. I think that's been one of the most pleasant things about working with Neural DSP and the Neural DSP artists is that they have such a good collection of people to work with. I got to meet Paul at the NAMM show. He's from Canada. So I don't get to see him, around too much because I'm in Los Angeles. But I got to meet him at the NAMM show, and he was just like one of the kindest, nicest people I got to meet. And we had some really great conversation, and I'm working with him on a couple of different things currently. So look forward to that on the channel. So Monique R asks, maybe this is a stupid question, but I'd like to get some guitar signal feedback for a song. When you get your guitar too close to your amp, how can I achieve this with digital amps? I'll have to experiment with that, actually, because I have a couple of ideas on how you would get it done. I've tried some things. Didn't quite work as I intended or expected. I mean, like, I could probably treat my room as I would a regular guitar amp and turn up the volume enough so that my guitar starts picking up the signal and feeding back. You probably want to make sure that your latency is as low as possible. But I'm not sure. I know that they do make some plugins. Gosh, I think it's Eventide maybe or Softtube. I think Softtube actually makes a feedback plugin. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I think I saw that in an email at one point. But I would actually have to do a little bit of research to figure that out. Ancient Mariner, what's up, dude? How's it going? Unicorn Poo is asking, are there more mixing or production tutorials like the Acoustic DI video? I'm going to guess that you're asking, am I going to make more videos like that in the future? And yes, absolutely. I feel like I want to be, getting kind of creative with these plugins where everybody's doing the guitar stuff, right? Like it's fairly ubiquitous. It's like, obviously they are guitar pedals or guitar plugins, so you can make guitar videos out of them. But I want to show like some more aspects of it. So, like working with vocals, doing post-production work with them. So that's definitely something I want to engage with. But it's just it's a matter of what's going to work with the audience as well, because not everybody's looking for that sort of thing. So I kind of have to test some ideas and some do a little bit of social proofing first before I do a whole lot of stuff on the actual channel. So you'll probably see some stuff on the Facebook page first before I do something on the YouTube page. But I do appreciate you saying that, because that also is good feedback for me, because people, I need to know what you guys want to see to be able to deliver what you guys want to watch, So Michael Lazaretos, probably mispronounced that. Yeah, because I'm terrible at that. Asks, hi Steven, good to see the Q&A is back. Do you prefer 6-string baritone or 7-string guitars? That's a good question. I actually haven't gotten my hands on a baritone guitar yet. Yeah, I think that's pretty legit. I actually have not played a baritone guitar, which I think probably only because I generally I've only ventured into the 7 and 8 string realm within the past couple of years. So my playing on the 7 and 8 string guitars is not quite as firm or ingrained in my muscle memory as 6 string guitars. So I feel like I would gravitate more towards a baritone guitar first, But I'm happy that like my playing is getting to a point where I'm fairly comfortable on a 7 and 8 string. 8 string still feels a little like a different instrument altogether, because the shapes get very, very different when you start adding on the additional fourths, lower. So when you get to the B and the F sharp, or if you're going B flat or F natural, if you're going to half step flat for that Meshuggah tone, the chord shapes get a little different, which I'm not entirely used to, and I'm still kind of like finding my way around that. But yeah, so I think I probably would naturally gravitate towards a baritone first, but I do like having the extended range for the 7 string. Edgar Torres Jr. asks, more bass videos, question mark. Yes, I definitely like, I bass videos do probably, like, they don't do super duper well on the channel. Like, bass is sort of like it's a very important part of the mix, and it's a very important part of the band, but it's not as exciting as some of the guitar stuff, which people tend to really like a lot. But I do want to put out more bass videos. Like I just put up the video with Matthew Denis, Matthew the bass player, on the site this last Friday, which turned out great. I was actually really, really happy with that, because having him sort of explain his thought process at the beginning, because I play the bass and I know some techniques and I know some ideas about the bass, but I'm not really a bass player. So having him at the outset kind of give you a bassist's perspective on choosing a bass for the song, like, was really, really helpful, and it was really, really valuable, I feel. Hosa asks, what's the best plugin for Drop W? Best plugin for Drop W. You're thinking like W Bush, you thinking WW2? I think I don't know. I want to have a witty response to that, but I'm coming up short. I'm still trying to wake up right now. I need another cup of coffee before I finish up the rest of the day. Oh, Faison asks, got a recommendation for an Octaver plugin or effect? So I actually really like the Alter Boy by Sound Toys. That's one that's really, really good. I like putting that ahead of the in front of the plugins. Yeah, BJ says baritones rock. You totally need to try one. I do. I actually really want to try the Rubea's Signature. I think he's with Rob Chapman. Chappers. Oh, who the hell? Rubea Signature guitar. Yeah, Chapman. I figured it was Chapman. Yeah, no, I really want to try Rubea's Signature baritone. I've heard that thing is dope. But I want a lot of things. I thought for a while that like I had quelled my guitar acquisition syndrome. And then I started working for Neural DSP, and I'm like, I want to try all the things with these plugins, and I'm so excited to do that. Like, so I want all the guitars now. I want just like a full row of guitars along this back wall. Yeah, Faison says he has the Alter Boy. It's great, but latency. I totally get that. Alessio asks, are you planning to make some other stuff like specific pedals, wah maybe, or mixing tools for guitars? I'm not sure. There's always a possibility. I'm not really part of the planning or execution of a lot of the plugins. So that's a question that'll be left for Doug or Francisco when they come on the next Q&A, when they come on the next time. Yeah, Michael D says, I tried a baritone once and have wanted one ever since. They're pretty dope. They sound awesome. Like, I really want one. Okay, Virus. This is a good question. Good question. Which plugin would you suggest for someone who wants to get great clean tones along with metal? Let's see. Obviously, the Plini is probably my go-to for cleans. Followed up by the Nolly. The Abasi is really good at getting a blend between that piezo and amp tone. I really like that a lot, using the blend knob to get that in. But as far as like cleans are concerned, I think the cleans are really going to be complemented by the effects that you can add to them. So the Plini's reverb and delay, I feel, are going to complement clean tones the best. And that's a subjective opinion, really. It's not an objective opinion. It's very, very subjective because that's just my personal preference. But I think that the Nolly does really, really well with cleans as well. The thing that I find with the Nolly is I end up brightening up the tone quite a bit and working, kind of massaging the tone a little bit more than the Plini. The Plini, I feel like I just pop it on and it's good to go. All right. Oh, Martin. I'm gonna guess it's Martine because you have the little O with the thing through it. How is the Quad Cortex coming along? Just tuned in. Everything's going along pretty well. Everything's on schedule. I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but if you guys want, so we are. I like that Doug is always very, very communicative with progress and what's going on. So everything is on schedule for September and November. And if you guys want some regular updates and snippets and videos and stuff like that, check out Doug's Instagram. Just search Douglas Castro and you'll come up with his Instagram. He posts to his story pretty regularly. The most recent Instagram story with the Quad Cortex was they put the kind of Digitech whammy pitch shifter kind of thing in there. So it sounds pretty dope. So nice. Keep Rocking says for micro pitch shifting, try micro shift from Eventide. It's on sale now. Zero latency sounds dope. Awesome, man. Thanks for the tip. I like Eventide. I've been using. They have an EQ and a clipper that I really like. David Gutierrez says gas never goes away. Just gotta accept it. Yeah, dude, it's pretty bad. I'm looking at Strandberg right now. I'm just kind of drooling. Man. All right. Just going through the chat real quick, seeing if I missed anything. Adam Berger, if neural plugins didn't exist, what would you use? I don't know, actually. I mean, I've been kind of out of the game on some of these other brands. I've heard Mercurial is great. Oh wait, what is that the amp or is it the brand? I can't remember. Mercurial amp. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Mercurial audio software. So they have a couple in there that I've heard are fantastic. Yeah, I might go with that. I've heard that their impulse response section is pretty awesome. Yeah, Alex Forrest says he wants a Strandberg Bowden so bad. Okay, Dominic Jones asks, will you be able to change guitar amp channels with the Quad Cortex? For example, if you were running the JCM. I think that's supposed to be JCM. Yes. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways that you can control the Quad Cortex. There's stomp mode, there's scenes. So if you had you can also do different, I mean, there's so many different ways to do the exact same thing, right? So you have presets, you have stomp boxes, and you have scenes. So you have scene A is your, clean channel, right? So you have your gain dialed back to 3. Scene B is going to be your rhythm channel with your gain dialed up to 6, right? And then scene C is going to be your lead channel with your gain dialed up to 8. And you got EQ and a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's all the same setup, right? So you can do something as simple as just a scene. it will remember your individual settings per scene, right? So you can have a setup with like a tube screamer, the JCM, your impulse response, your reverb and delay, and then you per scene you can change those individual blocks and their settings. So that's, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do that. So you don't have to go between presets, and it's very, very functional. It's very, very flexible. Once I get the production model in hand, I'm going to be going into great detail on every way that you can possibly think of controlling the quad cortex. So I'm really looking forward to getting that. And yeah, definitely once that is in my hands, you guys are going to see a whole bunch of content popping up on the YouTube channel. I might even actually change, like, thinking about it, I might split up the week then, because I'm at some point we're going to go back up to 2 pieces of content per week with the live stream on Wednesdays still. So we'll have like a Monday and a Friday piece, which I might do quad cortex on Monday and then plug in on Friday. So, you know, maybe something along those lines. Anyway. Oh, okay. So Dominic Jones said 4 cable method, not JCM. I read it as 4CM, and I didn't realize that was the 4 cable method. You could potentially do that. I'm not sure. I would have to look in. I'm sorry. I'm kind of ignorant on the 4 cable method, actually. Let's see. Brandon Sills says, disregard all current existing modules and plugins. What one pedal or effect would you love to see added to, or to any or all of the neural plugins? That's a good question. To be very, very honest, I'm not much of a gearhead. In that, when I was actually playing shows and when I was actually playing out, I ran a very trim setup. Like I had my tuner, I had my wah pedal, and then I had just my channel control, because I always like to keep things very simple because I don't like tap dancing, right? Also, the music that I write doesn't really lend itself well to that sort of stuff. But having said that, I would definitely want to have. I mean, I've always loved wah. I've always loved Digitech Whammy. The Strymon stuff looks amazing. I mean, the cool thing is, I mean, like, well, let's face it. If you get a quad cortex, you could capture any of the plugins that you want too, which is really, really cool. Mr. Kiyami says, "Please don't say tuner." No, man, I'm not gonna go that route. I'm not gonna go that route. It's all good. I'm not gonna troll. Jason asks, "Are you gonna use the quad cortex as your interface instead of a Focusrite, or will the Focusrite still have a place on your desk?" For anything that I record for the channel, I'm gonna use my quad cortex as the interface. So that way, you know, recording and digital to audio conversion is all very, very clean. This is actually a question that I address in the Quad Cortex FAQ that I'm working on, because people are asking about, you know, is there going to be problems if you use the Quad Cortex and then just run that into your interface? And no, there really isn't. As long as you have your gain staging set up properly, the noise floor won't be an issue. I would suggest just making sure that, you know, like I said, just the gain staging is proper. Because what happens is you have the noise floor added every time you make the digital to audio conversion. So you have the noise floor going into the quad cortex, and then you're sending that signal out to your interface, which is going to add additional noise floor. But as long as your gain staging is good, you're not going to really notice it that much. So I will say that I'm personally going to use it as my interface because I want it to be as clean as possible. However, if you go with the other option of running your quad cortex into your interface, it's not really going to be that bad. Mr. Kiyami, that's actually a really good question. He says it's mentioned something about a looper, but have you heard or do you know anything about whether it has one, two, or three tracks? That's a really good question. I don't know that. I'm gonna save that one, just cause that's a great question. Make a note. Make a note while I'm live, just cause I don't want to forget this, cause I will forget this. All right, good question. But I'll save that one. Because I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Colton Chapman asks, do you have any experience playing an LTD Tele 1000, searching for an Evertune Tele shape humbucker guitar? But with COVID going on and all, I'm not sure when I'll have a chance to try one out for myself. An LTD Tele 1000, is that an ESP guitar? Gonna do some searching. ESP LTD. Yeah. That looks like a really pretty guitar. But long story short, no, I have no experience playing this particular guitar. ESP LTD guitars are always pretty solid, though. Like, I don't know if I could vouch for this one specifically, but being somebody who wants a Telecaster, I'd be interested in something similar to that. However, I'm probably going to be ordering it through Hoppus Guitars, so I would say it's probably going to be pretty decent. Check out the user reviews. Like I said, the ESP LTD guitars are all pretty solid. I have an Eclipse, LTD Eclipse, which is pretty dope. Don't buy from anywhere that you can't make a return. That would be my only advice. Is if you end up not liking it, don't get caught in a situation where you end up having to sell it for less, basically. Like if you're buying it from Sweetwater or something like that and they have a return policy, excellent. Right now, because we can't go out and play the instruments that we want to, we kind of have to make sure that we take precautionary measures. If we end up buying from bigger companies just because we need to have that sort of insurance, then it might be worth the extra couple of bucks to get something like that. So that would be my advice. Just be cautious. Buy from somebody you can return it to if you don't like it. WP asks, any advice for a USB interface used together with neural plugins but on a budget? So the interface is not going to matter quite as much as the CPU. So you could go with something like an Audient, I think it's ID 14 or something like that. But basically, you can be in the range of about $150 to $400 for an interface, and it's going to do just fine. Like I've used the Scarlett Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 before, and it's worked perfectly. I have the 18920 currently hooked up to my desktop, and that's perfectly fine. I've seen people use the Scarlett 2i2 as well, and that's perfect. The main thing about the Neural DSP plugins is the computing power. If you don't have a CPU that can handle the processing limitations, or the processing demands of the plugins, then that's when you're going to run into problems. Which, if you go to the Neural DSP website, all of the specs, the recommended specs and the minimum specs, are on our FAQ page on the Neural DSP site. So you can go with anything along those lines. I would definitely recommend, like, if you're going with something like, if you want to have something with MIDI capability, I know that the Scarlett 4i4 is the entry level to having like 4 inputs, 4 outputs, and a MIDI port on the back. So if you had like a Behringer FCB 1010, you could plug that into the back of your interface to control your plugins with. Yeah. Virus asks, does any MIDI controller work with the Plini to switch tones, like any MIDI pedal? I've never used any real amp, tried many VSTs, Plini looks far ahead of the race. Nice, nice. Okay, yeah, so just about any MIDI pedal, so like the plugin will respond to PC change messages, it will respond to control change, and what else is there? I think that's it. Program change and control change. I'm just gonna look it up, because that's what I do. Yeah, CC control change notes in program change. So program change, like if you guys watched my Fort and Hydra video, like that's a MIDI pedal that sends program change messages. And that's pretty standard on a lot of like bigger amps. Like my Mesa Boogie had it. Fortin makes them as well. I'll show you. Hang on a second. So you have the Fortin Hydra. It has the 5-pin MIDI out that goes to the back of your interface. But yeah, so this sends out program change messages. Definitely look up the specs of the MIDI controller that you're thinking of using, and be sure that it's sending out program change notes or CC messages. But generally, most of those will work just fine. Let's see if you... Let's see. Adam Berger. One of the things I would like to see most in a neural plugin is the ability to something, I don't know, is the ability to your riffs real quick before forgetting it. I have Guitar Plug that does this, and I use it every single day. I'm guessing you're saying record. Yeah, you're one of the things I would love to see. Okay, I see what you're saying. One of the things I would like to see in the plugins is the ability to record your ideas. I mean, that might be a good function. That might not be. I don't know many people who would be interested in that. Like, I have like gigabytes of ideas on my phone only because I don't really want to wait for, my DAW either. So when I'm like riffing, I'll just post up my video so that way I can also see how I'm playing it. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting thing. I think I may have seen one other person post about that in the Facebook group. It might be an interesting thing to look into, but I kind of doubt that that's going to be a feature that'll happen anytime soon. Maybe with the Quad Cortex having the looper function, you'd be able to do that a little bit faster. But yeah, we'll see. Some of these questions I don't quite know the answer to, so I'm kind of skipping over them. Yeah, okay, so Jason Clement is chiming in on one of my previous answers, talking about using the interface. He says the third gen Focusrite stuff is pretty good and affordable. He's had no issues with his 2i2. The first and second gen had issues with clipping on the instrument inputs on the lower end models. Yes, so those ones were pretty notorious for having issues. I have the second gen Scarlett 18920, and that one does pretty well for me right now. But yeah, if you're going to go with something on the Scarletts, I would recommend getting a third generation. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so WP adds to Adam Berger's question saying, I think a metronome would be a cool feature for the plugins, so no external app is needed. That might be interesting. Who knows? We'll see. Because there's an ability to dial in your like tap tempo in standalone especially. So like if you needed to sync your delay to a specific tempo, you could do that. But yeah, that might be an interesting thing. All right. Spoofaged asks, will there ever be a rack type system to have all of our purchased VSTs available in one instance so I can use the Plini pedals on the Grandifier, for instance? I'm not sure. That might be something we do in the future, but I'm not 100% sure if that's actually in the works. So we'll see. That'll be a question for Doug when he comes on the Q&A. Hopefully I'll have him on at some point soon. So, yeah. All right. So it's 5 minutes till. Let's go ahead and get some last minute questions, some of the last questions in, before I call it a day and head back to working on the next video for you guys. Let's see. I love that, like, we got like sub conversations about like getting guitars and stuff like that going now. Okay. Yeah, Dominic Jones chimes in with, totally agree with the comment on the Focusrite. No issues with the third gen stuff. The key is computing power and writing speed. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. As far as writing speed is concerned, I do all of my recording to an external hard drive. Like I have the Lacy 1 terabyte. And that seems to do fairly well for my needs. Because I actually also don't ever really go above 48 kilohertz whenever I'm recording. Jason Clement asks, do you know if the Quad Cortex is the first of many hardware devices, or is it the one and only flagship? I.e., are you guys at Neural DSP looking into a Neural DSP Axe FX? It's a good question. I think that I'm also going to leave that for Doug, because I don't think that that's my place to answer that question. So we'll know pretty soon. I do want to get Doug on the live stream fairly soon, just so I can have him answer some of these questions, because I know they've kind of been piling up a little bit. So, good question, though. That's a very good question. User 4 says, pick a number between 1 and 10. If I guess it right, I get Cali for free. You funny. You got jokes. Awesome. All right. So I guess I'm going to just start wrapping it up. I got a couple more minutes left. I'm kind of curious, you guys, like what, so I've been thinking about doing some stuff with the Q&A. So like I love doing this, right? Like I love, oh, cool. So I just read Nexus saying, I recommend mixing books, step-by-step mixing, how to create great mixes with using only 5 plugins. Cool. I haven't seen that one actually. We mentioned Systematic Mixing by Ermin Hmedovic earlier, which is a great book. But anyway, so back to my point. I would actually like to get more guests on the live Q&A, so that way we can have some conversations and open my guest up to questions from the audience directly. So I'm curious if you guys would be interested in that. If you are, would you guys want it to be a separate Q&A? So like we have our regular weekly Q&As and then I do something on a Monday. Or would you guys want that to be during the same time and just have more heads up on when that is going live? Because I think that that's going to be something that's valuable, because I mean, like, we can get some additional opinions and ideas on this channel as well. Yeah, Unicorn Poo says, yo, I love Ermin, all in caps. Ermin's great, dude. He's great. Okay, so people are asking about the Neural DSP shirt, and if they are available. I think at one point we were talking about doing some merch. I don't know what's going on with that at the moment, because like this shirt I got because I was part of the team at the NAMM show. Like during the National Association of Music Merchants, the Neural DSP came over from Finland and we all hung out in Anaheim during the convention. And yeah, so I had to have a Neural DSP shirt on while I was working the booth. So they gave me one, and I know that there was only a handful left at the office. Thankfully, they had a couple of smalls for my skinny ass. But I think that, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that that's something that's going to be coming up soon. Because like I said, it's been in the works. It's been in talks. I don't know if anybody's pursuing it at the moment though. But I'll let you guys know when they start rolling out for sure. Oh, for shirt. I hate myself sometimes. Anyway. Okay, cool. So Jason Clement chimes in with, I think, in regards to talking to guests either at the same time or picking a different time, so that way the weekly Q&A is sort of the same. But he says the same time would be good. Don't want content overload necessarily. Not that I don't love these Q&As, which I appreciate. Maybe like once a month is something I have a guest on. Maybe a bit longer if the convo is good. Agreed. Because the John Maciel conversation went over, if I remember correctly. We went probably for about an hour and a half, but it's chock full of really great content. If you guys haven't checked it out, I would highly recommend it. Because also what I want to do is take those conversations and turn them into podcasts for our platform. So, that's it all kind of interconnects. But like I said, I want to start kind of building on these things and getting a little bit more. I want to get some more faces on the channel. Especially because we have this awesome Neural DSP roster with a bunch of artists, and I want to get them, on the channel. I want to get you guys talking to them as well. Oh, is it this one? Announce. Yeah. Yeah. My girlfriend hates. Well, she loves it. She has like a love-hate relationship with my like really cheesy dad jokes. I kind of tame it back for the Q&As, but yeah, it's pretty bad. WP asks a question concerning the company. Is everybody working together in Finland, or are all of these people separated all over the world? So we do have people all over the world. The majority of them are in Finland, though. So we have people are in Finland, in the UK, Chile, LA. Gosh, where is everybody? I think that's generally everybody. But there's a whole bunch of people working for Neural DSP that I haven't even talked to or met. So yeah, it's a pretty national corporation at this point. Adam Berger says, I'm out, bro. Stay safe and well, everybody. Neural rules. Have a great one, dude. Let's stay safe. We'll see you next week. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts exactly. Jason Clement commented, if it was a regular thing like every first Wednesday or every last Wednesday, it would be more predictable for us as viewers and maybe have a bigger turnout, which I agree with. I definitely agree with. People are asking for the dad jokes. I'll slip them in there whenever I can. Awesome. So I'm getting permission to do the dad jokes, which I greatly appreciate. Awesome. I appreciate the feedback, you guys. That it always helps knowing what you guys are wanting or expecting or think would work best with your schedule. So I appreciate you guys filling in the details for me, so that way I don't have to kind of just fumble around and try and get something together on the fly. So I appreciate you guys so much. I love doing this stuff. It's one of my favorite things during the week that I get to look forward to. So why don't we go ahead and call that a day? Yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out with me during these Q&As. It's so much fun getting to talk to you guys on a weekly basis and seeing so many people come back on a weekly basis, just to I was telling somebody yesterday, in fact, some of you guys have been hanging out the past 6 or 8 months, And I think that that's awesome. And I love that you guys hang out with me and ask such great questions. And I love to get to, interact with you guys so much. So yeah, Matthias asks, why so serious? I don't know. I mean, I get to do some cool stuff, and I get to be serious every now and again. Cool. So let's go ahead and call it there. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.